looking back at your first playoff game, like what stood out to you in the big picture of what you experienced?
I think obviously a tough one for us shooting the ball and playing offensively. I thought for us, I think the end of the second quarter they went on an 8-0 run. That felt like a big turn in the game. I'm not sure if it was exactly an 8-0 run, but I didn't think we executed great there, so that felt like a turn. And then I felt like going into the fourth, we still had a good chance. I think we were down 11, maybe even 8 right before the fourth ended, and then they scored. So I feel like moments we were good, but versus teams like this in the playoffs, like you have lapses, especially defensively, and we let Mabry get hot. It's going to be really hard to win.
Looks like the eye's better. Do you feel anything? Any pain issues?
It feels good. I don't know. It looks okay too, so I'm glad.
Caitlin, what did you learn the most that you guys as a whole are going to have to adjust for Game 2?
Honestly, I feel like, we'll just go back to our schemes and go over it. And, we didn't practice yesterday. We came in here and just got some shots up. But we'll go over some stuff today and adjust some things defensively that hopefully will give us a little bit better of a chance. But I think scheme-wise, we had good schemes. We weren't always executing them. So it just comes down to execution and really being detail-oriented. And I think, at times they almost kind of beat us at our own game. I felt like their pace was really good, pushing in transition, and I didn't feel like we really got out in transition and ran as much as we probably could have.
Does it feel like most of quote-unquote mistakes you guys made are fixable? Like, it just feels like you guys are confident
for
that
sure.
That style of play, you can still get it done.
Yeah, for sure. And we know we're capable of beating this team because we have done it. Obviously they're really, really good, and we know it'll be a challenge, but I don't think it's anything, we're shying away from. I think you just embrace the challenge. We know we didn't give our best, and maybe the final score really seems like we did get blown out, but we had it to 6 points. We had it to 8 points. It was just we could never really get over the hump, and then they make 2 back-to-back threes, or we turn the ball over, or little things like that really cost you in the playoffs.
Going into a must-win, how's that change the mindset, if at all, for this team?
I don't think it really changes it that much. Obviously, it's a must-win, and it's either win and go back and play at your place, or just go home. So I think for us, you approach it the same way. Every single game in the playoffs matters just as much as it does, in the regular season. At least that's how I approach it. Every game means a lot. So, come out with the same intensity. I think just leave it all out there. There's 40 minutes. That's all we're guaranteed. 40 minutes. So you have to leave it all out there.
Caitlin, you had at Iowa both your junior and your senior year. You had 5 or 6 of these, right?
Yeah.
Where you literally, when you showed up in the arena, you did not know if it was your last game or not. Can you take any of that from junior year and senior year into a situation like this?
Yeah, I think it's you approach it in a way of you don't want this to be the end. You want to keep coming back here. You want to keep coming to practice. You want to keep having shoot around, or have one more game with your team. So I feel like that's how I approach it. I don't want this to end. I feel like it's been a very special year for our organization, and our goal is to get to the playoffs. But everybody in our locker room believes we can really win this series. Obviously, the first game didn't go how it wanted to, but you got to learn from it. You got to flush it. You can't let that dictate Game 2. This is obviously a must-win for us, and we believe we can come in here and win that. But like I said, we're guaranteed 40 minutes. Go out there and play as hard as you can, give it everything you got, and as long as you do that, you can be proud of what you did.
You've talked about how March Madness is the greatest tournament in sports. Does this winner go home game kind of give a March Madness vibe to you?
Yeah, in the standpoint of, this is a winner go home situation. Obviously, this is very different than college, and it's a learning process for me too. Obviously, this is my first playoffs, and a lot of us on this team's first playoffs, so we're all kind of going through it at the same point and learning, and you don't always know what to expect because a lot of us have never been here, but that's the most experience that I have is from college, obviously coming in here as a rookie and this being my first playoff. So at the same time, I'm just trying to learn it and go with it, but I feel like I've been in a lot of high pressure, intense games, and that's what the playoffs is. So it's not anything you shy away from. Some are going to be good, some are not going to be as good, and lucky for us, the first game wasn't as great, and you have an opportunity to come back the next game and, try to play a little bit better and give yourself a chance to take it back home and win.
Last one.
Circling back on the play with your eye, what would you say to the crowd of people that think a hit like that was intentional? Maybe even
It wasn't intentional by any means. You just watched a play. It wasn't intentional.
So what did you guys, what was your off day like here? How did you try to clear your head after game 1?
Yeah, actually I went home because only an hour drive to Massachusetts. So spent time with my aunt, spent time with my family. My parents came up, so just enjoying that.
Got it. When you have you had a chance to look at the game film from
Yeah.
Germany? Okay, so what stuck out to you?
Yeah, I think just making sure that we're there on the catch. I mean, they got some wide open threes. That's pretty hard, especially when we were countering ours with twos. It's really hard to match that. But, I mean, the entire first 3 quarters, that was great defense, great offense. I think that fourth quarter, I mean, they obviously just got loose, and so we just have to make sure that we're able to close off that fourth quarter.
What did that first taste of playoff experience feel like for you?
Yeah, the energy was great. I'm glad I had my parents in the crowd, my family in the crowd. There's no better feeling than playing for them, and so it was a pretty great feeling.
You mentioned getting to go home, but in general, what does it do to have these 2 full off days in the middle of the series like this with no travel, just a chance to really regroup and watch film?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's definitely beneficial for our legs, and so just happy about that, but super excited to get to play tomorrow.
Did it feel like, I mean, you guys came here at the start of the season. Did it feel like deja vu-y at all?
Yeah,
or?
it's kind of crazy that
Yeah?
this is how we started, and now we start off here for our first playoff berth in a few years, and so definitely exciting.
Got it. I guess just kind of big picture, you know, having had the season you had last year and then, you know, just changing your, you know, role in the offense this year. Like, how has that gone for you mentally this year? Just having to accept all those.
Yeah, I think from the start
responsibilities?
to where we are now, I think definitely there's been some progress with that. Obviously, I didn't play too much in the short role my rookie season, and so being able to adapt to do that, I think over time I've definitely just been able to adapt and make the right reads out the middle.
What did you guys learn the most that you can take away from that game 1 and adjust for game 2?
Oh man, we learned that we played a veteran leadership team, led through AT and DB, and it showed where we lacked as far as the discipline. And I think film is always a good thing to watch and see because you vividly see where you lack and where you need to be better at. And I think our group grew to appreciate it. We got taken on the chin. Got to turn the page, and you got to look forward to trying to, walk out here with a win tomorrow.
You mentioned accountability a couple of times. Is that
for sure
just defense, like locking into your assignment and not giving up? I think it was a couple transition plays in a row.
For sure. I think that down the stretch of the games where changes were made on their side regarding their lineup, and Mabry came in, you got to treat her like she is who she is. That's a laser, top-notch shooter, and I think we fell a couple times in that area, and I think that it was our Achilles heel because we couldn't catch up, and so we look at these moments now like you learn from it hopefully, and like Kaylin said, look forward to the moments tomorrow, the pressure that comes with it, and kind of welcome what happens.
This is where the season started. How has the team evolved now that we're back here for the playoffs?
Oh man, I think we could write a book on our 12, man. I think that it's a special group of people to put in a room and try to go win some games. I know what comes with in 2024 is a different era as far as social media. What you so have it, and the era in which the basketball game is going. I think that we've tried to do a really great job to keep ourselves grounded and held together all year. So I'm proud of our group.
You've been with this organization for a long time.
Yeah.
How is, first time in the playoffs since 2016, what makes this team different and the feel in the locker room but also on the court that you noticed?
Man, I think that for one, I think the eyes are a little bit more glued into women's basketball, and so that's just the reality of it. And you got to appreciate, the fandom, all the fans that come and support, what we're doing now. And I think even, this group and this generation, like your Kaylins and your Angels, have done a phenomenal job of, promoting who they are and bringing their game to the table. And you can go to appreciate it. And so from where I started to where I'm at now, it's definitely a change. But I think, in retrospect, I'm glad to be a part of the process and see both sides of it because it just shows the growth. I think it's a dope thing.
Are you hearing a lot more from friends and family that can actually now watch the games? They just announced the number, and it was 1.84 million people watching this on an NFL Sunday.
Man, that's dope. It's a lot of second cousins and distant aunts that in Memphis, and my mom's from Tennessee, and so I run into a lot of older family members. I'm like, dang, aunt, whatever, and I'm just like, it's hilarious, but you appreciate the love, man. I think it's part of the process. I think.
Must win game 2. How does, if at all, does that change your guys' mindset going in?
No, man, you gotta down your sword on Wednesday. That's just what it is. There's no denying that. You gotta do what you gotta do to win a game, and they're not gonna make it easy. They're the best for a reason. They're ranked where they are for a reason, and so you gotta look yourself in the mirror and expect what it is and give your best. Give your best.
Kelsey, did you feel like there was a disconnect with Caitlin on Sunday as sort of like a two-player backcourt? And I guess if so, how do you be more connected with her?
Oh man, I don't think there was a disconnect. I think that we were learning what it was like to play in a playoff game, man. I just think that's the reality. There's no way around that. I've never been here. She's never been here. Most of us have never been here, and you got to see a disconnection throughout the course of our organization. You know, it's our first time, and I think that the good thing is that you can look at Wednesday and say, hey, see how much you can learn, and, you know, taking what was and make what is, you know, today. So I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that improvement. I'm proud of that growth from, you know, hopefully from that game to even today for practice. So I think that me and C-Square will always be locked in on what we can bring to the table as a group.
What are you taking from that game one to take into game two in terms of, you know, filling the gap of veteran experience?
Oh man, I definitely got to open my mouth a little bit more on holding myself accountable for one, you know, defensively. Schemes and personnel is everything in the playoffs. It comes down to your best players making the best shots or putting themselves in a position to have their group win, and that's the stuff you got to hone in on from a disciplinary standpoint. And I think that discipline is going to have us be better than we were and where we should be in order to win a game. And so I think discipline is going to carry us. That's been in the gaps, knowing your schemes, knowing who you guard, know who you're not guarding, where you need to be. And so I think that's our next step. And we don't have that much time to figure it out. So.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, feeling going into a must-win game tomorrow?
I think we're excited. You know, we didn't shoot our best the other day, so we're hoping that that definitely changes, but we're excited for the opportunity. We're excited to compete.
Is that the one adjustment? I know there's many, but is that the biggest adjustment you guys need to make, you feel, to beat the Sun?
I think it's going to come down to both sides. We can definitely play better defense. I think we competed for 30 minutes the other day, but we compete for 40. I think we let it go in that fourth quarter. So just making sure that we're locked in, and we'll make some adjustments on the defensive side, and just hopefully those shots fall too.
Connecticut was talking about how that stretch at the end of the first half really, you know, turned the game for them. What do you make of, like, just knowing when to put your foot on the pedal in those moments?
You know, I think we all know basketball's a game of runs, and making sure that we're able to recognize those runs and huddle together, whether that's at free throws or timeouts, just making sure that we notice those and then get a good shot, get a good defensive stop to shut those runs down.
I mean, you kind of mentioned how you're excited for the opportunity to play in this winner-take-all. I mean, obviously you don't want to be down in the series, but like, is there something about, you know, being in this pressure-packed situation that you think will bring out the best in you guys?
Yeah, I think so. You know, I hope that we can rise to the occasion, and we're a young team. We're the youngest in terms of playoff experience in this playoff run. So I don't think that's going to limit us. I think we're excited for the challenge and excited for the opportunity to hopefully get a dub tomorrow.
Did anything stand out to you about just kind of the playoff? I mean, you're used to sellout arenas, you're used to national TV, but getting everybody's first playoff game, did anything stand out to you about that?
I think it's just, you know, it's a little more physical, and you see it. I think we saw it in Connecticut's players. They've been there before. They know what it takes, and I think we can learn from that in some regard, that every possession means something, and that we all five on the court need to just be really locked in and competing and diving for those loose balls, and it just means so much, especially tomorrow.
Lexie, you guys have been riding kind of that wave of fun and goofing off and having a good time, and that's, you know, held you in great stead here August to September. Are you able to still, you know, muster that, so to speak, at a time like this when it gets a little more tense?
Yeah, I think, you know, for us, we don't want to lose who we are, and that's definitely a key piece of who we are. We like to have fun, we like to play with joy, we like to do that together, and I think if we did tense up, that's where we're not going to play our best. So I think we just need to stay true to ourselves, do what's been working, and I think that will be good for us.
I love this.
My arms need the help.
Love it.
Coach, this is where the season started, and now you start the postseason here as well. How has your team evolved over the course of those months?
We've evolved in a really, really positive way from that first month, and then even that, playing this team 3 times in our first 13 games was tough. I mean, this is a team that is extremely experienced, very talented. So just to see where we were towards the end when we had an opportunity to play them after we had done a lot of improving on both ends of the floor.
When watching film, what were some of the most glaring, breakdowns and stuff out to you that you could notice?
Yeah, we've done a really good job defensively in our schemes, and I don't think we did a great job of making it really hard on them, especially with some of the shots that they took. They shot the ball extremely well. I mean, Mabry hit threes. I felt like every time she shot it, it was going in, but I think we could have done a better job in handling some of the actions that she got those threes in. I thought our post did a great job with Bree Jones down low with the way we were able to stay down and stay just vertical and make sure that we didn't get those fouls. But I think there was a lot of things that we can do differently to make it more difficult for them to get some of those shots.
When you went back and watched the tape with Caitlin, and obviously they did something different defensively on her, was it a combination of that and just having a bad shooting night once you went back and looked at it? What was your evaluation of that?
Yeah, when I went back and looked, and we even talked about it, she said, I just missed some really wide open shots, and players are going to have those kind of nights, right? But give Connecticut credit. I mean, they made it really difficult on us everywhere we moved. I mean, changing it up on her, who was guarding her, putting DB on her, that length, was really effective. But I think, sometimes you have those nights where you just can't find the rim, and I think that played a lot into it as well.
What will it take to beat the Sun tomorrow?
We have to handle their physicality first, and their transition offense early it really hurt us in the first half. AT makes it really difficult when she can rebound and push the ball. She's so strong. She's a great passer. So we have to get that stopped first. And then guard for 24 seconds. I think we did a pretty good job on the initial actions that they were running, and then as the ball started moving and we started maybe watching it a little bit too much, then we weren't ready for whenever they would have a kick to a Mabry for a three or a DB. So we just have to be ready. Transition defense has got to be better for sure.
Is it difficult to strike the balance between the youthfulness and joyfulness that this team has had all season with the intensity that you alluded to that comes with the playoffs?
Yeah, it's every time I see that graphic up of our minutes and our, experience as it relates to other teams in the league, you have to pause because these guys, they're figuring it out. And this is going to be great for the future to get this experience. But it's been business-like for these guys, and that's what they've done. They've put in the work. And, that's what we just keep preaching. You put in that work, you get rewarded. And, I don't think we did some things that we had done better as of late in the game the other night to make it more difficult for them. So, enjoy the moment. I'm trying to do that. But being a competitor, all of us are, we want to take this thing back to Indy.
Scott and I didn't plan this, but I will follow up on his question. The youthfulness you describe, you also have quite a few people who within the last couple of years have done do-or-die NCAA games over and over again. Caitlin's had, 10, 11, 12 of them, right? Where you got to win the one game. Lexie a few years before that. Aliyah, right? On and on it goes. Can you tap into any of that with them?
I think the big moment, the experience you can a little bit, but this level is just so different. The WNBA is the best league in the world, has the most talent. But just I guess you could say just the experience of that playoff, the fans and the pressure you feel, it's one and done, probably so. But I just feel like once you get to the WNBA, this level, it's just different.
Kind of similar to my question about the team evolving. This was also Caitlin's first WNBA game here. You remember all the conversation about, her at the start of her career, and now she's unanimous Rookie of the Year. How have you seen her change as a person and a player throughout the course of this season?
Yeah, I think for her playmaking ability is what I'd probably go to first. She had a lot of turnovers early, and it really bothered her. Just the getting used to the speed and the strength of the players that were guarding her, and then also her teammates and understanding her teammates. That takes time as well. But she's evolved and learned, and once she's gotten her footing, she just keeps improving, and the way she makes everybody around her better, that's what separates good players and great players, and she's definitely done that for us. Also, her teammates have really taken some of that off of her. Aliyah, Kelsey, they've able to take some of that pressure off her and let her have some opportunities that would have been really tough without those guys on the floor. I mean, her playmaking, and then obviously her shooting, which is it's gotten better from the start. And I know she wasn't happy with the way she shot the ball the other night, but I feel like these are the moments where she's going to step up big time and make those shots.
Knowing how great Gamebridge has been crowd-wise all season, how much will you put extra emphasis on that in a message tomorrow to make sure that's extra motivation to get it back in Gamebridge for Game 3?
I'm just
looking forward to these 40 minutes here at the Connecticut Sun. That's what we're focused on. And I feel like if we come out and take care of our business and do what we need to do that we didn't do the other night, I think we'll have that opportunity to take it back to gamers. But we are just focused on what's happening here in the next 40 minutes of play.
Coming back, can you kind of take us through the process of maybe how long you've been thinking about a move like that and how significant this is for what you're trying to get accomplished here?
Well, I wish I could say that it was that I hired her, but that was Mel Raines, our new, CEO of Pacer Sports and Entertainment. And when I was first approached about the concept of it, I was like, whoa, wow, taken aback a little bit. I hadn't thought about the possibility of after Allison had resigned to take another job that maybe Kelly might be available. And then once I heard that was a possibility, I was absolutely thrilled because of my relationship with her. We're such a unique time with the WNBA and with the Indiana Fever. This is an unprecedented moment, and as we move forward, we need great leadership. And we need great leadership that's experienced with what we're going to deal with now, especially with the CBA and just the media rights and everything that's happening, the explosion in the WNBA. And wow, if you polled me and said, hey, list the 3 people, if you could have anybody you wanted in this new role, I would probably have listed Kelly 1, 2, and 3. I mean, she's just so experienced and she's had such an impact on the Indiana Fever. And then also her experiences now in the NBA, so she's got all the bases covered. So once I heard that this was going to happen, man, if I could have done a flip or a handspring, I probably would have done it. Fortunately, I didn't try that. Yeah.
She's been called like the architect of the Fever franchise.
Well, there's no doubt. Let's go all the way back. When the league first started, Kelly was in the league office. And then the Simon family brought her to Indy to start the Indiana Fever, I think in 2000, 99 or 2000. It's been 25 years. And so she's definitely the architect of this franchise, made the draft picks early on, took a chance on Tamika Catchings, even though she was injured, built this into a championship franchise, and playoffs every year. I had the opportunity to work with her from 2003 until I retired the first time in 14, and so significant amount of time, tremendous leadership, skills, great person. I think it sends the message from Pacer Sports and Entertainment that we're all into this franchise and we're ready as we move forward with somebody like Kelly leading us.
Your 3-year plan ended with making the
playoffs. Let's give that 3-year plan a hand.
Uh-oh, there goes the water.
There goes the water. Remember, I came on board interim, and I think I'd been on board for a couple of months, and realized it's going to take more than a couple of months. And then I said, okay, I think I can get us back on track, probably in 2 or 3 years. And came up with a plan. It had to do with draft picks, it had to do with trades, it had to do with free agency. And I was very fortunate that Rick Fuson and Simons, gave me the resources to do what we needed to do. And here we are 3 years later in the playoffs. We even challenged for the playoffs a little bit last year till we got hurt there at the end of the season. So I'm just thrilled for this franchise. I'm thrilled for the Simon family because of their tremendous commitment to the WNBA, to the Fever, all these 25 years. And now they're reaping some of the benefits of being all in.
What does that next timeline look like? What goals, what kind of years?
The next timeline is playing for championships. That's why I loved working for Pacer Sports and Entertainment and the Fever. We were all about winning. We were all about bringing great people into this franchise with a commitment to doing whatever we needed to do to be competitive night in and night out, and then challenge for championships. And I think we were in the finals in 2009, and probably looking back as a coach, I probably subbed too much, and if I hadn't, we probably won a championship then. And then we win in 12, and then we're back in the finals with a chance to win a championship in 15 or 16. So that's who we are. That's what we do. We expect this franchise to be competing for championships.
the expansion draft kind of throws a wrinkle in things both this year and next year. Just have you heard anything about
Well, it
that?
could, just depending on how you approach it. Fortunately, I was part of the expansion when the storm came in and the fever, and I think it was Miami and who was the other one? Miami, Portland. That's right, and they're back. Yeah, welcome back, Portland. And so I know what that kind of how that works. I think we're still waiting to hear the guidelines. You know, how many will we be able to protect, and how will that work? And then when will Golden State draft in the draft? Hopefully we'll hear that soon. But it's tricky. And so if you have a real deep team, you're going to lose somebody of quality. But everybody will.
So Lynn, from your assessment, what happened, what was good and bad about last night, and what needs to happen tomorrow other than
I
the
think,
obvious?
yes, I think our young team, I saw that chart that somebody did of how many, I didn't even know we had 19. You know, and then you're looking at, I think Connecticut had 222. That's what happened. You know, we met a veteran team in their home arena that had enormous playoff experience, and we didn't. And so now we've had some, and let's see how we respond to that. There's no way you can talk about what it's like. You just have to experience it, and it sends another message that as we move forward in free agency, we need to get some veterans that have played for championships. I thought we were fortunate to have Dantas, who has played in some championship games, and Timmy, but we don't have many people that have done that. And so you have to give Connecticut credit with Thomas and with Bonner, you know, just two of our all-time great vets in the WNBA, and they showed their championship experience, and it carries over to your teammates. It's contagious. And so we've got to move down that path where we've got more people with that type of experience.
Obviously,
Whoa.
Obviously, the focus is on this series, but was just wondering if you've begun any conversations with Kelsey's future here.
We're always talking about the future. We're always talking about who we need to keep, contracts we need to negotiate, and of course that's ongoing, and we'll continue, you know, after the season's over. Right now, we're focused on the game tomorrow night. We're focused on how to score more points, how to hit a few more threes, and how to defend a little bit better.